Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm back again, doing my commentary series. Yes, I'm still doing it. I have no idea why, since Disney keeps taking them down, and I keep sending them emails about it, and they keep putting it back, and I don't know. It's a mess. But I'm still gonna do it because I start something, and I always gotta finish it, no matter what. Now, on a lighter note, this one's actually, I'm very excited for this one. This one is for, the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. You guys all remember the Guardians of the Galaxy, right? Of course you do. I mean, it's one of the better Marvel movies to come out yet. And to celebrate this, nice little occasion, guess what I've got? The Milano! Milano came to join the party. Now, I guess I probably should give a disclaimer here, and some of you eagle-eyed Lego collectors probably have already noticed this by now, but this is actually not the Milano from the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. This is from the Marvel line of Lego sets that came for Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and it's very noticeable since this version of the Milano is a lot smaller than the other one, but unfortunately I do not have the original Milano, because the movie came out when I was still in the military, and it was actually at a very tense time. I'm not really going to go into the details too much, but financially it was impossible for me to buy the Milano at that time. So it was one of those sets that I just had to let it be the one that got away. However, unfortunately, several years later, I was able to buy this thing recently in the more recent line of sets. However, I didn't exactly left that line of sets empty-handed, and I got this thing. It's one of the Nova Corps, ships, as seen close towards the end of the movie. Of course, they can do this. Now you guys probably recognize it a little bit better. See? The Nova Corps stuff. So I was able to get that, and I've also brought a few of the characters from the movie to join me. There's a little Nova Corps officer inside, which I'm gonna let him out of his cage later. And other than that, I've got some of the other Guardians lying around. There's you probably can't see this, but there's Rocket. There's Drax. Gamora, Nebula, and there's Yondu, but it's Yondu with the fin, because by the way, all these characters are from the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie because of reasons I've previously mentioned, and as a result of that, I don't exactly have Groot. I do have Baby Groot though, from Guardians 2, and I've got like 3 different versions of Star-Lord because I didn't really notice what I was picking up when I brought these here. So these 2 versions of Star-Lord are from the second movie, but fear not, I actually have the original Star-Lord from the first movie because it came with this set, and it's got the orb, as you can see. And yeah, I think I've babbled long enough on these Legos. And instead of, actually giving you guys what you guys came here for, which is the movie. So, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, I should say. Directed by James Gunn. Here we go. Of course, the movie starts with this amazing prologue and this incredible opening song introducing us to the wonderful, just outstanding soundtrack of the movie. Maybe I should tone it down a bit. By the way, this kid who plays young Peter Quill, I believe he played one of the kids in It. Played one of the members of the Losers Club. I'm pretty sure there was a very special story with Peter's grandfather in this movie, but just for the life of me, I can't remember where it was. No. I mean, what a way to open a Marvel movie. Of course, now we all know who his daddy is, but you know, back at the time when this movie came out, it was such a mystery to everyone, right? Comic book fans knew who his father was, but they already said by then that it's not going to be the one in the comics. It was going to be something different, and I was going out of my mind trying to figure out who his father was. I was not expecting who. I mean, in all my wildest theories, I never would have imagined it would be the one that it ended up being. I mean, just they punch you right in the heart in the first 5 minutes of the movie. It's like it's like watching a Pixar film. And it is still a comic book movie. And they're playing it very smart. They're doing away with the death of the parents right at the beginning. Get that out of the way so we can have the rest of the movie to focus on the implications of an event like that. Kind of feels like a Spielberg movie in this particular scene, doesn't it? That's what I feel about it. And I mean, just this whole entire scene, there isn't a single drop of humor. And if you've seen the movie, and especially the sequel, you know just how funny these movies are. So, this scene is really an achievement. And of course, my favorite part in every Marvel movie, the logo! The outstanding new Marvel logo. I still prefer the new one, the one we have right now, over this one, but this one is still pretty incredible. "26 years later, Morag. If you're looking for any Easter eggs, I'm afraid that the Guardians of the Galaxy movies is a bit of an Achilles heel for me, a bit of a blind spot, a weak spot, to be more specific. But I'll do my best. Still can't believe Vin Diesel's playing Groot in this movie. Bradley Cooper really is underrated in these movies. People barely even remember it's him. I want that! That's a device I want to have! Especially in a country like this, where literally every square inch is a an archaeological site. I mean, seriously, just imagine how much history is in this city alone. I want a device like that. That's really the part where all the nerds in the audience just lost their effing minds. Nova Prime? What? And also, again, I mean, they went straight from the emotional gut punch scene to this great introduction of the character 20 plus years later. And it just instantly transforms into this amazing dance sequence. Which is one of the things that this movie does so great! The balance! I love this song. Hey, hey, what's the matter with you? Hey, 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 what's the matter with your fine and your mind and oh, hey, hey, what's the matter with your fine and your fine? Come on and find you, hey. Hey, baby, 'cause you're fine and you're mine and that's a skeleton of a carbonite, by the way. Just saying. Come and get your love. Come and get your love. Come and get your love. Come and get your love, come and get your love now. Come and get your love, come and get your love, come and get your love now. Come and get your love, come and get your love, come and get your love now. Come and get your love. Come and get your love. Come and get your love. My mom used to play these songs every Friday morning when she cleaned up the house. Years ago. That's how I know all these songs so well. And I love all these songs. So I'm one of those rare few 20-year-olds who watched these movies. And these songs didn't seem weird or out of place.
How do you know about this?
I don't even know what that is. I'm just a junker, man. I was just checking stuff out.
You don't look like a junker. You're wearing rabbits of cars.
Apparently these Ravagers are a big thing in the galaxy.
My name is Peter Quill.
Oh, vous I need to us.
Hey, you know what? There's another name you might
Guess
know.
that reference. Star-Lord. Who?
Star-Lord, man. Legendary outlaw. Guys.
No.
Whoosh! Whoop! There's the mural. There's if you really look closely on that thing on the floor, you can see a depiction of eternity, infinity, entropy, and death. Very important cosmic Marvel characters there. And I mean, right at the start of the movie, they introduce the technology that Peter Quill is so used to having around in his pocket. I mean, it's technology that's centuries beyond our understanding, and he's just casually throwing it around. Let's you know that he's used to this kind of world. He's lived in there for 26 years. Damn it. Da-da-da. Whee! A geyser! Man, I wish I had the original Milano. It's time to go on eBay and look for it. Whee! Clearly, there's a lot of junk, just lying around in his spaceship. Lets you know a lot of stuff about his character. He's not exactly the most organized person in the world or the universe, apparently. And then there's this.
What happened?
Hey, you, what's your name again? Marit.
Look, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I forgot you're here.
I love Peter Quill. A complete departure from what he is in the comics, but I mean, it's awesome. I love all his 80s stuff. And speaking of which, did all that fit into his little backpack? How did he bring all that stuff there with him? Hey. Oops. What's up?
Well, I was in the neighborhood. I thought I'd save you the hassle. Well, where you at now, boy? I feel really bad about this, but I'm not gonna tell you that. Slaves making a big call as a slave to me, really? We do not do that to each other. We're proud of you. We got a code. Yeah, and that code is steal from everybody. When I picked you up on
Oopsie.
terror, these boys of mine wanted to eat you. Yeah. They had never tasted any terror before. I stopped them.
Of course, now that we've seen the second movie, we know certain stuff about this conversation that we didn't know before. That right there is James Gunn's brother, Sean Gunn. James Gunn is the director, as mentioned. Woohoo. Now, this sets up that this arrow is dangerous.
What we do need to worry about is who else out there wants that orb?
Speaking of which, again, perfect editing. It's edited like a comic book, and it flows naturally. Another great thing about this movie. Of course, it gives us an introduction to the bad guy. Again, not the best Marvel villain of all movies. But this scene kind of sets up who he is and what his motives are, and you don't really need much more than that. He's a very religious person, and is very dedicated to his cause. And he hates the government of Xandar for something that happened that we're probably going to see more of in Captain Marvel. Hint, hint, hint.
I will cure it.
Smash! Clearly setting up right at the beginning that he's pretty evil, this guy. I believe that's the seal of the Kree Empire. Oh, look, there's Nebula. Using these conversations to set up, the names of these characters. I believe that's the first time Thanos is mentioned by name.
Nebula, go to Xandar. Get me.
It will be my honor. It will be your due. This happens again. You'll be facing our father without his prize. I'm a daughter of Thanos. Just like you. But I know Xandar. Lilith has already agreed that I
Eesh. Clearly it sets up an intense sibling rivalry between two sisters. And it gives you literally all the relationships between these four characters standing in a room, talking to each other, with nothing but just a few words. Oh. And guess who this guy is? Sorry about that. I had a phone call. I think it's the first time I ever had a phone call on one of these commentaries. And Stan Lee, of course. By the way, this scene was completely last minute. He wasn't supposed to be in this movie, but the fans kind of demanded that he be there, but so we said, okay, sure, I'll do it. Love Rocket. Hume. That's a pretty bad mugshot. And he's back to drinking from the fountain. Oh, Groot. Groot is actually a lot smarter than people know. But people are people, I guess. Groot is actually royalty, by the way. For those of you who don't know.
Sends his love and told me to tell you that you got the best eyebrows in the business. What is it? It's my policy never to discuss my clients or their needs. Yeah, well, I almost died getting it for them. Occupational hazard, I'm sure, if you're alive at work. Dude named Ronan.
Say what?
Until Xandarian culture, my culture, is way off from existence. Come on, there's someone from that side. I'd rather not be on. What about my bad side? Farewell, Mr. Quill. Hey, we had a deal, bro.
He's still talking like a human. By the way, that thing in his ear that, you know, transforms into the helmet is also a universal translator.
There's one thing I hate, it's a man without integrity. Peter Quill.
Look who's talking.
You have the very man.
Hello there.
Well, you know, say that. People say it about me all the time, but it's not something I would ever say about myself.
Okay, enough small talk. Shut up. By the way, this entire scene was filmed in London. That's why some of the architecture is kind of resembling the city of London, especially some of the buildings. And I've been to London once, so I can recognize a few of them. Particularly the bridge and that the gherkin-looking building. And she's very strong, apparently. Sweet! Ouch. Whee. I love that this orb suddenly became the MacGuffin of this scene. And it's basically how they all met each other. Bye-bye! I mean, all you know that this thing should have done that because of the setup from earlier. Man, Rocket looks cuddly. Cuddly but vicious. That's what I'm gonna call him from now on. Slash! And still keeping the tradition of characters in Phase 2 movies losing their arms. Run, 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 run.
Like, how much is this gonna hurt?
Buzz!
Yeah, right, little man.
my hand. And busted. And guess what? These things showed up.
Drop your weapon. By the authority of the Nova Corps, you are under arrest. Come on.
And there's John C. Reilly. Star Prince.
Oh, sorry, Lord. I picked this guy up a while back for petty theft. He's got a code name.
Code name.
Outlaw. It's cool to have a code.
On one hand, it's kind of funny to hear his voice in a Marvel movie, but at the same time, it's kind of feels welcoming. He's perfectly well placed in this movie, I'm gonna say that. Wheeze.
Destroying Pandarian outposts throughout the galaxy. I should think that would call for some slight response on the part of the Kree.
And this is the first time we ever saw a Kree in the Marvel Universe, but definitely not the last.
Slaughtering children, families.
That is your business. Now I have other matters to attend.
How does that work? Oh, there he is. Peter Serafinowicz. Yeah. He did the voice of Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace. And he's currently playing The Tick on Amazon. Just, you know, some random facts.
89P13
Calls himself. Very important.
experiments on lower life forms.
Low life.
They call it
I
Groot,
Groot.
a humanoid plant that's been traveling recently.
From Planet X, if you saw that very quick thing.
Peter Jason Quill from Terra.
Peter Jason Quill. That's
Mercenaries called the Ravagers.
a little reference to his comic book father, King Jason of Spartax. Just, you know, another random fact.
Transport all force to kill.
The Kiln. Very, thing from the comics. Obviously updated for the movies, but as all things.
22 prisons. This one's no different. You're lucky the broad showed up, because otherwise Steve Groot would be collecting that bounty right now. And you could get drawn and quartered by Yondu and those around. I've had a lot of folks try to kill me over the years. I ain't about to be brought down by a tree and a talking raccoon.
Look, his hands grew back. He doesn't even know what a raccoon is.
Ain't no thing
That's not a raccoon, that's a meerkat.
this war has a real shiny blue suitcase under the covenant. What is
I am Groot.
Pretty high and mighty coming from the last year of genocide.
Look who's talking.
Yeah, I know who you are. Anyone knows who you are. Yeah, we know who you are.
Basically, Quill is like the audience at this point, because we don't know. The audience doesn't know who Thanos is unless you read the comics, but everyone else do. And he's basically the non-comic book reading audience. All the other people are basically all the comic book reading populace. I love the. I love the Giving Tree reference. That was the song they used for the first trailer, and it's still awesome. Buzz! Buzz, 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 buzz! By the way, this guy, this big hulking dude, is the guy that was, hold on. I'm hooked on a feeling. I'm high and believing. Orangeness with me. Lips as sweet as candy. Feast is on my mind. And he got jacked for the role. Got me thirsty for another drop of wine. Look, he's got some cybernetic enhancements all over his body, especially on the inside. So, men and women basically share cells. Notice they didn't give Groot any prisoner clothes. Hooked on a feeling, high unbelieving. There's a lot of cameos in this scene that I don't recognize. Mostly rock band members. Wait. One of those guys was, I believe, from the movie Romeo and Juliet. One of James Gunn's previous movies. So, are they friends now? Quill and Rocket? Yeah, right. You can see more of the cybernetic stuff on the neck. It's the first time I've noticed it. Now that's a powerful sentence. And there he is, Nathan Fillion. I remember they mentioned before the movie came out that he was going to be in a cameo in the movie. I did not expect him to be this. This one here's our booty!
You want to get to him, you go through us. Or, more accurately,
We go through you! First thing you gotta do when you go to prison, establish that everyone knows you are the boss. I hate you. Why don't you just jump her instead of just yell? Shows you that they're cowards, basically. And wait, she gets her own cell? In isolation? Those are some scars. And guess who happens to share that prison with her? Arthur Douglas. Sorry, I mean Drax, the Destroyer. Yep, life in prison. And the guards are helping those bastards. What's this? What's this? Now he actually cares about him because he wants the ransom money. You dare! When the big guy walks in the room, you stay the hell away from him.
Hey, Drax. They're destroyed. You know why they call this? Slayed dozens of brothers.
I'm pretty sure all the tattoos on his body is more or less an accurate
And my daughter can marry.
An accurate, representation of the real tattoos he's got on his body. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Yep, she is good. Get away from me. Whoa, he's big. You probably shouldn't have done that. You probably shouldn't have done that either. And he's big.
You know, if killing Ronan is truly your sole purpose, I don't think this is the best way to go about it. Are you not the man this one's attempted to kill?
How do you know that?
Look, this is like from a smoking hot rage girl. Stabbed me with a fork. Didn't like me skipping out on her sunrise. Like a right here, a Cree girl.
Ugh.
Tried to rip out my thorax.
Ugh.
Skinny little Oscar Varian who worked in Nova Records. I was trying to get information. Ever seen Oscar Varian?
I don't think he wants to know that story.
I think I'm seriously interested in that. You don't care. She betrayed Ronan. He's coming back to her. And when
I love the direction they went with his character. Because in the comics, he used to be an android at one point, and then he died and came back to life. But he came back to life stupid, and he took things literally. There was literally an issue of Silver Surfer where he was hell-bent on killing Thanos, and, you know, Thanos wasn't around for him to kill, and he was just crazy about killing something. So Silver Surfer literally took him to some guy's home on Earth and forced him to watch television for like an entire page. And literally an entire page of Silver Surfer and Drax sitting on a couch watching television. And one of the shows they watched, by the way, was Superman. The Adventures of Superman. Just saying. So he's your friend now?
Oh, we're getting out. And then we're headed straight to Yondu to retrieve your bounty.
I love the animation on his mouth. It literally looks like a talking raccoon.
What? Shit.
That orb is my opportunity to get away from Thanos and Ronan. If you free us, I'll lead you to the buyer directly. I'll split the profit between the three of us.
I'm Groot. What about me?
Sleep for the danger or wait for the money.
As per frickin' usual. Oop! The other! We've seen this guy on the Avengers. We get to see more of him. And I love the holographic communication system they've got going on there. When Thanos demands, you better follow his demands. Sanctuary. If you know, the ship at the end of Thor Ragnarok is called the Sanctuary 2. Just, you know, again, some more random facts. Oh, wow, I'm really surprising myself with these facts today.
Your sources say that she meant to betray us the whole time.
Shut up! Huh, this guy actually has eyes. That's literally the first time I've noticed that. I still remember that when I was sitting in a theater watching this moment, wondering myself, how is Thanos gonna look like? And I mean, look at this! Just look at this! I was screaming in the theater when I saw this. Dude looks so awesome! And Josh Brolin voicing the... Oh! I was fixated on this scene. Bathe the Star Wars in your blood. I clearly see he's scared of this guy. Which is a very good setup for what happens later.
Let's head to the camp.
And one last shot, you know, so the whole world can see this is Thanos. This is the big bad in the MCU.
I knew that I'm gonna need a few things. The guards wear security bands to control their ins and outs. I need one.
Leave it to me.
That dude there.
Now listen to
I need his prosthetic leg.
this. You can clearly tell he's trying to suppress some laughter.
Finally, on the wall
And
back.
later we find out why.
Blink yellow light. You see it? Yeah. There's a Quarnix battery behind it. Purplish
You
box.
know, she's getting the band, he's getting the leg, and, you know, Groot wants to contribute, so he goes after it himself, and none of these guys notice that.
Oh, I really heard they finally grabbed it. It's 20 feet up in the air, and it's in the middle of the most heavily guarded part of the prison.
Which no one seems to notice what's happening right now.
I got one plan, and that plan requires a freaking Quarnix battery. So figure it out.
Drax is standing there.
Now, this is important. Once the battery is removed, once we have it, we gotta move quickly. So you definitely need to get that last.
Boom! No one saw that.
Just get it first and improvise.
I'll get the armband.
Leg. Ah, this movie. I am Groot! Sheesh. Seriously, how do you kill a tree? The more important question is, how come they didn't escape yet? I mean, Groot is clearly all-powerful at this point, right? Like this. He sees an opportunity. He's not that dumb. Whee! Whoa. Get out of here! Man, he's good. Seriously? Smash! Catch! I love this. Oh, yeah. Oh, these two guys together. Get out of my way! Whee! She could basically have done that at any given time. I need your hand, please.
I'll figure something out.
Give me your hand! I'll think from that point on. Okay, it's my leg. Out of bullets. Ugh. I think he's a little bit wounded. Feats! Whoa, that's a jump. I was even running with that giant thing. He's touching his private parts. The boom!
Man who was late with the Rascabelli. One time, all available guards in full combat.
No. Da da da. Da da da. Da da. I give up. Move it. What's this? What's this? Murder! Hey.
Spare me your foul face, woman.
She noticed him just now.
Promise him you can stay by your side until he kills your boss. I always keep my promises when they're the ones whack jobs will kill me if I don't. Oh, I was just kidding about the leg. What? No, what did he look like hopping around? I had to transfer 30,000 units.
So good.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with the walking thesaurus on that one. Do not ever call me a thesaurus. It's just a metaphor, dude. It's people that are completely literal. Metaphors are gonna go.
So there's more like him. Reflexes are too fast. Catch it! Surrounded by the biggest idiots in the galaxy. This movie's so good. And they all shoot one at a time instead of just shooting it all at the same time and just blasting that thing to hell.
We brought some over a flame to this room. This is quite delicious.
What the fuck? The glass is not gonna hold much longer. Just shoot already, dumbass! Whee.
Turned off the artificial gravity everywhere but in here.
Pretty clever. And this is even cleverer. Da 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 da. I am Groot. Is there anything he can't do from inside that thing? Whee! I love the score! And I love that also that they reused some of it in the sequel. Hold on.
That was a pretty good plan.
Eh? There it is.
See my ship. It's the Milano, the orange and blue one over in the corner. They crumpled my pants up into a ball. That's rude. They pulled yours.
There's the orb.
Let's go.
No, 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 no.
What?
That bastard just put it back.
Yep, he took it.
Get them to the ship. I'll be right back.
How are you gonna possibly?
Just keep the Milano close by. Go.
Yeah, he's got a plan. And she's not going. Oh yeah! Zoom! Zoom, 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 zoom. Now, in the comics, those are actually element guns. They literally shoot anything from any of the four elements. You know, earth, fire,
Decline to share that information.
wind, and water, I believe.
You got the orb, right?
And nope. Another great song. Like pina coladas. Now, as I was saying, this guy was the guy that was in the Darth Vader suit in Rogue One.
If we don't leave now,
Just,
we will be blown to bits.
I thought I should mention that.
Not leaving without the orb.
And he's noticing something before he even shows up. Behold!
This one shows spirit. She'll make a keen ally of that hocus companion. What were you retreating?
This thing. You are an imbecile! Somebody knew the downtime on the ship.
Yo, Razor Rick, what are you doing?
Ranger Rick.
Bought my ship without asking me? See, what is this? Don't touch that. It's a bomb. A bomb? And you leave it lying around? I was gonna put it in a box.
What's the box gonna do?
How about this one? No, whoa, hey, leave it alone. What is? Shut up. Hey. What's that? That's for if things get really awkward. Or if you want to blow up movies.
No one's blown up. Listen,
Except for Thanos.
Listen, I'm gonna need your buyer's coordinates.
we're heading in the right direction.
By the way, I don't know if I've mentioned this or not, but Sean Gunn, who plays Kraglin, one of the Ravagers, and he's also James Gunn's brother, he also does the
I don't know.
motion capture movements for Rocket. All of them.
Down, you fool! You'll destroy us all.
Just you murderers.
I led you to once, princess.
I am not
Whoa.
a princess. Nobody killing anybody on my ship.
Go out and do it on your own. He.
That means more money for the three of us.
I'm Groot.
Four of us partners.
We have an agreement that I would never be partners with the likes of you. I'll tell the buyer we're on our way. And Quill, your ship is filthy.
I love this joke. You got issues, Quill. Nice studied art. I know what a Jackson Pollock painting looks like. Ugh. No, these guys are actually Sakaran from the planet Sakaar, which shows up later in Thor Ragnarok. Of course, they did a lot of changes from the comics to the movies. So the people of Sakaar are a completely different race of people than these are. And the biggest, army enemies of the Guardians of the Galaxy in the comics are the Badoon, but Marvel couldn't use the Badoon because they appeared first in the Silver Surfer comic book, and the rights are tied up at Fox, or at least they were back then. So they used the Sakarans instead. Oh, billy boo, billy boo, billy boo. Oh, billy boo, billy boo, boo. Oh, billy boo, billy boo. Oh, billy boo, billy boo.
Possibly betray the confidentiality of my buyers.
You will now. Yee! And it's hanging right between your eyes. I mean, wouldn't you betray your morals for that? Karina. That's a dark elf.
I don't have to remind you what happened to the last attendant you disappointed. Do I? Chop, chop. I guess
There's a girl in my work for my job called Karina. Every time I see her, I always just walk up to her and say, Karina. And she doesn't even know why. But she's okay with it. That is the head of a Celestial. Yes, there are Celestials in the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now.
The severed head of an ancient celestial being. Where are you headed in, Robert? There are no regulations whatsoever here.
Celestials are characters created by Jack Kirby, the legendary Jack Kirby, the man, the myth, the legend. And they exist in movie form right now, which is, again, one of the many wonders we never dreamed we'd ever see in a movie.
Sent workers in to mine the organic matter within the skull. Bone, brain tissue, spinal fluid, all
Yuck.
pure resources, highly valued in black markets.
Because a Celestial is a very,
It's dangerous and illegal.
very rare being.
Well, I come from a planet outlaws. Billy the Kid,
He
Bonnie and
built
Clyde,
an
John Stamos.
entire city inside his head.
Hey, sure.
Can you even imagine the concept? Big bug. And just, I love Groot. I mean, you really, there's no need to have that moment in this movie. Yet it exists, and you absolutely love it. You fall in love with Groot in this movie. Yeah, I eat you.
Man, you wouldn't believe what they charge for fuel out here. I might actually lose money on this job.
My connection is making us wait.
It's just a negotiation tactic. Trust me, this is my specialty.
Hmm.
Yours is more stab. Those are my terms.
My father didn't stress
Yeah, she kind of starts to like him.
He's not my father. When Thanos took my home world, he killed my parents in front of me.
And we've seen some of that in some of the trailers for Infinity War, and we're gonna see the rest of it in the actual movie in just a few more days. Just saying.
Why would you risk your life for this?
Well, in the second movie, they talk a lot about this unspoken thing they have between them, Quill and Gamora. This is where it all started. The unspoken thing.
What do you do with it?
Do nothing. You listen to it. Or you dance.
I'm a warrior and an assassin. I do not dance.
Really?
There's a little bit of music in there on all of us, Gamora. I love that he just mythologized, pop culture movies from the 80s.
Sticks up their butts that dancing. It's the greatest thing there is.
Who put the sticks up there?
No, that's
She's like Drax now. Down and fell in love. I listen to these songs in my work all the time. Back in the 80s, that was the quality of the headphones that people literally shouted when they heard them for the first time because they thought there wasn't any sound besides what they were hearing. She's still listening to pelvic sorcery! Oh boy. And they started a bar fight. Basically, it's Vin Diesel fighting Dave Bautista. Did you ever notice that? I want to know what they did talk about. Ouch. I actually got really emotional for this guy. I felt for him. I really did. You probably shouldn't scream 4 billion units in an open bar.
Why none of you have any friends? 5 seconds after you meet somebody, you're already trying to kill them. We have traveled halfway across the quadrant, and Ronan is no closer.
Yeah, just stay there. Stay there. Stay there.
Let him go. You don't need him.
Nah.
Hey, Lady Gamora. I came to thank you for my master.
And I'm looking very happy doing it. Now, if you look very closely,
We've housed the galaxy's largest collection of
Cosmo! Cosmo the space dog! There's a Chitauri. And, if you-
I present to you
there he is! Howard the Duck! In a glass case! Howard the frickin' Duck! Again, another obscure comic book character from the 70s. He actually had his own movie. It's actually the first Marvel character that had his own live-action feature film. Guess who directed that movie? George frickin' Lucas! That's the one. The Thing. I am Groot. Fascinating. I've never met a Groot. I am Groot. Whoa.
Siobhan, we have been halfway around the galaxy retrieving this orb.
Those are some of the slugs from the movie Slither, another one of James Gunn's earlier movies. Oh, look, 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 look! Look! And he's losing his buzz. Yes, yes, sure. Listen to this is important. I'm gonna shut up now. I hope. This scene is just awesome. It shows you the history of not just the Infinity Stones, the entire universe. And that's the picture I was talking about. Look, there's the Tesseract, the Ether, the stuff you already know about. That's Celestial! That's Isan the Searcher himself! Look at that thing! I believe those are the Watchers. And this, by the way, is important because it leads into later when they hold hands together. Blah blah. Very fascinated. By the way, the Collector, one of the greatest Avengers villains, by the way. He's actually the brother of the Grand Master from Thor Ragnarok. Garina. That was not a very smart thing to do, young lady. A shame. Such a pretty girl, though. Clearly setting up that this is the Power Stone. Because it's definitely very powerful. Watch this. How would he even know that word? He was 10 when he left Earth. And look, Cosmo's escaping. By the way, Cosmo is actually the administrator of Nowhere in the comics. It's a... Because I'm one of the idiots who lives in it!
Listen to me. We cannot allow the stone to fall into Ronan's hands. We have to go back to your ship and deliver it to Nova.
Right, okay. You're right. Or we can give it to somebody who's not going to arrest us, who's really nice for a whole lot of money. I think it's a really good balance between both of your points of view.
You're despicable. Dishonorable. Faithless!
Oh boy. What a moron.
You called Ronan?
That's quite a coincidence.
Ronan the Accuser, you are the one who transmitted the message.
Why did he keep such a simple ship?
You killed my daughter.
Prepare to die. Zrik!
I told you you can't bend. Now wait here, I'll be back.
Where's Gamora? She is escaping the horde. Linda!
What? Get back here, you! Clearly he's very unfocused. And Ronan's actually a much better fighter than he is. And for some reason, very physically stronger than him.
Bring it down!
Whee! Kaboom! Go away. Ouch.
You got no weaponry on these things. These pods are industrial grade. They're nearly indestructible. Not against technoplans, they're not. That's not what I'm saying.
Oh. Oh, this is so awesome. Bam! Destroy everything in sight. Ah! Ah, look at this guy. A lot of people tend to forget this was kind of Disney's personal audition for Star Wars. Whee! This was Disney's literally their first foray into the space opera genre. Blast! 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 Well, clearly they have proven already that Ronan is much, much stronger than Drax, and yet Drax is still keep on going. Because he's determined.
Squirrel, I'm trapped! I can't make it to the final! I have to head out!
Why does he know so much about these things and he's never been to nowhere?
You are disappointment, sister. All our siblings. I hated you least.
She's not saying that she loved her the most.
Ronan gets this stone. He'll kill us all.
Not all. They will already be dead.
And she's clearly not listening to her. This scene is beautiful. I don't know how they shot it, but it literally looks like they're underwater, which you kind of assume that's how floating in space feels like, right? I mean, I obviously have never been to space, but Tariq, if I was, I'd probably would feel something like that. Of course, they gotta show you that the villain's evil, so what better way than to just take on the biggest and the strongest of the group and wipe the floor with him, literally.
You guys aren't meant to be out here. The second we're gonna be in the same boat.
Let's go. And this is the moment that Peter Quill becomes a hero. A true hero. Yeah, where's Yondu been this whole time? We saw him on the planet like 50 minutes ago.
Nowhere. If you're there, come get me. I'm all yours.
What the hell has he been doing all this time since he told Quill not to move?
Don't be ridiculous. Get back into your pod.
I got you.
You can't fit two people in there. You're gonna die. You'll die in seconds.
And clearly, Rocket cares about him too. Again, like I said, looks like, you know, they shot it on the water with the, you know, the way his hair goes and the way he looks like he's holding his breath and his eyes. And if I didn't know better, I'd say they really did shot this thing underwater. Who knows? This movie is definitely an achievement when it comes to certain visual effects. So apparently all these ships come in the same design. It's just Peter decided to paint it orange and blue for some reason. Get off me, please.
I saw you out there. I don't know what came over me. But I couldn't let you die.
They somehow managed to take this very emotional, dramatic scene and they, you know, stretch it out and make it a bit of a humorous thing. Oh yeah, right.
They got the order.
What?
I mean, story.
Welcome home, Peter.
Peter? Oh, I hate this. Oh! Ah! Ugh. Ugh. You know, this guy pretty much punched your jaw a few minutes ago, and now you're helping him?
Quill just got himself captured. None of this ever would have happened if you didn't try to single-handedly take on
I'm a freaking army! And this is Drax's moment where he's becoming who he truly is. He's realizing so much truth about himself.
It's just to cover my loss.
This movie does a wonderful job at just going at every single character and explaining to you just what's important about every single one of them. The journey that each and every one of them is going through throughout this movie.
Come on, Groot. Ronan has the stone. The only chance we got is to get to the other side of the universe as fast as we can, and maybe, just maybe we'll be able to live full lives before that whack job ever gets there.
I am Groot!
Save them? How?
I am Groot.
I know they're the only friends we ever had, but there's an army of
I love that Rocket is the only one that understands what Groot's saying. It's kind of like the Han Solo and Chewbacca thing. You're making me beat up grass!
The orb is in my possession. As I promised. Bring it to me. Yes.
I need it for my glove.
Bring you the orb. You will destroy Xandar for me. However, the orb contains an infinity stone.
Plants.
Such as void.
You better be careful. He just opened it with his hands.
Thanos is the most powerful being in the universe.
Have you ever heard of a celestial, by the way? It's a thing again, apparently. Oh, and let's not talk about Galactus just yet, right? I guess you can say he's the strongest being in the known universe at the time.
You call me boy.
I guess Ronan is strong enough to
Justice on Xandar.
sustain holding that thing for as long as he did. Definitely a lot stronger than the weak, feeble body of Karina, who could barely even, you know. That's not a knock on her, she could barely wash the cases. This guy took on Drax and he beat him easily, so it shouldn't come as any surprise that he was able to hold the stone for as long as he did.
I picked you up as a kid. These
Why
boys,
don't you eat you?
they ain't never tasted terror before. I saved.
Of course, we know in the second movie where that line came from.
20 years you've been throwing that in my face. Like it's some great thing not eating me. Normal people don't even think about eating someone else. Much less that person has to be grateful for. You abducted me, man. You stole me from my home and from my family. You don't give a damn about your terror. You're scared because you're soft. And here. Here, right here.
Yondu, listen to me. Ronan has something called an Infinity Stone.
I know where he's got, girl.
Then you know we must get it back. He's gonna use it to wipe out Xandar. We have to warn them. Billions of people will perish.
Is that what you've been filling your head with, boy?
Cinnamon!
Either way, you're brain like maggots.
You know, it's a funny thing, but if you look around, you see no one that even remotely resembles Taserface. And yet in the second movie, it looks like he's a pretty prominent member. As a matter of fact, none of the Ravagers in the second movie, except for Kraglin, show up in this movie. They even wear different clothes. It's weird.
I hope you got something better than that. 'Cause ain't nobody stealing from Roman. You got a ringer.
Is that right?
She knows everything there is to know about Ronan. His ships, his army.
He's vulnerable.
Hey, what do you say, Yondu, huh? Me and you taking down marks side by side like the old days.
And we've seen some of the old days in the second movie.
You always did have a strong boy. That's why I kept you over the
Oopsie. Just look at how small that shot is and how big of an impact it's making.
The lunatic on top of this
He's
Ames-Rod enforcer.
still wearing a shirt, by the way.
If you don't hand over our companions now, he's gonna tear your ship a new one. A very big new one. I'm fine. I'm giving you to the count of 5.
Oh, hey, Will, what's going on?
You call that figured it out? We're gonna rob the guys who just beat us senseless. Oh, you want to talk about senseless? How about trying to save us
By blowing us up.
We were only gonna blow you up if they didn't turn you over. And how on earth were they gonna turn us over when you only gave us
Still thing on Earth. We didn't have time to work out the minutiae of the plan.
This is what we get for acting altruistically.
I am Groot.
Hey, Hara.
What's important now is we get the Ravagers' army to help us save Xandar. We have to stop Ronan.
How? I have a plan. You've got a plan. Yes. First of all, you're copying me for when I said I had a plan. I'm not. People say that all the time. It's not that unique of a thing to say. Secondly, I don't even believe you have a plan. I have
Part of a plan.
What percentage of a plan do you have?
You don't get to ask questions after the nonsense you pulled on Nowhere.
I just saved Quill.
We've already established that you're destroying the ship that I'm on is not safe.
When did we establish?
Like 3 seconds ago.
And he's being so calm about it.
12%. 12%? It's real. Totally fake. That is the most real, authentic, hysterical laugh of my entire life because that is not a plan. You're taking their side?
I am
So
Groot.
much better than 11%. What the hell does that have to do with anything? Thank you, Groot. Thank you. See? Groot's the only one of you who has a clue. Come on, Yondu is gonna be here in 2 seconds. He expects to hear this big plan of ours. I need your help. I look around.
Emotional time.
You know what I see? I mean, like, folks who have lost stuff. And we have, man, we have, all of us. Our homes. Our families. Normal lives. And usually life takes more than it gives, but not today. Today it's given us something. It has given us a chance.
To do what?
To give a shit.
Okay.
I, for one, am not going to stand by and watch as Ronan wipes out millions of innocent lives. Look, Will, it's nothing wrong with it. It's impossible.
Now they're talking sincerely.
He has to die. Yeah, I guess I am.
Oh, Peter.
Chloe. I have lived most of my life surrounded by my enemies. I will be grateful to die among my friends.
You are an honorable man, Quill. I will fight beside you. And in the end, I'll see my wife and daughter again.
One of the more emotional parts of the movie. No. Look at this. I am Groot. Huh? Well, Rocket?
Oh, what the hell? I don't got that long a lifespan anyway.
How long do raccoons live anyway? The Picard maneuver. All standing up now. A bunch of jackasses standing in a circle.
The stone reacts to anything organic. The bigger the target, the bigger the power surge.
All Ronan's got to do is touch the stone to the planet's surface exact. All plants, animals, Nova Corps.
Everything will die.
So Ronan does not make the surface.
Yeah.
Rocket will lead a team to blow a hole in the Dark Aster starboard hole. Then, our craft and Yondu's will enter. Won't there be hundreds of Sakaran soldiers inside?
I think of Sakaran as paper people.
Don't touch me! Who needs a shirt?
Once they know we're on board,
Shirts are overrated.
Ronan will isolate himself behind impenetrable security doors on deck, which I can disable by dismantling the power source.
We'll make it to the flight deck, and I'll use the Hadron Enforcer to kill Ronan.
Which technically sounds a bit overkill until he actually tries it.
Use these devices to contain it. If you touch it, it will kill you.
does he even have his number?
We were there to help. There's one more thing
Oh, look.
to complete the plan. That guy died. No, no, we don't. No, we don't need that guy's eyes. No, seriously.
I think it's one of the characters that they brought him back for the sequel.
Remember, boy, at the end of all this, I get the stone. Cross me. We kill you all.
Cherry bomb. Cherry bomb. This is a man of his word. That's a lot of shit.
Maybe you're the one who said you wanted to die among friends.
Nova Prime. I received a transmission from one of the Ravagers. He says Ronan's in possession of something called an Infinity Stone and he's headed towards Xandar.
It's a
She knows what Infinity Stone is.
criminal.
Did he say why we need to leave him?
He said his crew just escaped from prison, so we'd have no other reason to risk coming to Xandar to help. Says he's
Makes a very good point.
a-hole, but he's not, and I'm quoting him here, 100% a dick.
Do you believe him?
I don't know that I believe anyone's 100% a dick.
And do you believe that he's here to help?
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Fleet approaches. They appear to be Ravagers.
The Millennials! Wooz. Those are some giant ships. I love this part of the plan. You've got these two giant cannons shooting this huge thing, and then it turns out to be nothing but a distraction. Whoosh! Yeah. I really have to work on my mic skills. As in my, making sure I don't hit the mic accidentally. Skills. That's a lot of ships.
Our priority is to get our people away from the battle.
Glenn Close was pretty good in this movie, but they didn't really give her much to do. I wonder if we'll see her again in Infinity War. Makes sense, since she has one of the Infinity Stones in her possession. Sheesh. Now, technically it's not a space battle, but damn, that's a good battle. It's an aerial battle, that's what it is. And I mean, just look at this. Again, I go back to this thing. People say that it's nothing but just fancy schmancy effects. You have no idea how hard it is to make a scene like this. Every detail and every single ship flying and every shot that the ships are firing at each other, the clouds, the background, everything. Even the city below. And now look, guess who showed up?
Peter Quill, this is Denarian
Denarian
Sal.
Sal.
The record I advised against trusting you here.
They got my dick message.
Whee! Whee! don't know if you can see, but there's a little Nova Corps officer in here. I don't want to take him out because I think it's going to be harder to put him back in. But here we go. We're just like Kevin Bacon. Calling back the scene before. You've been boarded. There he is.
None of that will matter once we reach the surface.
He's thinking ahead. Karen Gillan crushed it as Nebula in this and the next movie. Hopefully she does just as good of a job in Infinity War as well. And Lee Pace also crushed it as Ronan.
All Nova pilots, interlock and form
A blockade.
The Dark Adder must not reach the ground.
By the way, Lee Pace is gonna come back in Captain Marvel, because Captain Marvel said in the past. Also, I love this. First of all, the music, but the idea. All these Nova Corps ships uniting to create a blockade. It's very metaphorical in a sense of, you know, if we all come together, we can overcome literally any obstacle. But like I said, the music is what sells it for me. We're coming up on another great scene that's, again, unnecessary, but it's incredible, and I don't know if the sequence would be the same without it. The spores. Once again, the music and just... Oh, I'm getting teary-eyed. Oh boy. I don't know why, it's just... I'm sure the answer is I improved.
The flight deck is 300 meters this way.
I want you all to know that I'm grateful for your acceptance of my promise.
And even now, they keep pulling the emotional punches.
You Quill are my friend. This dumb tree he is
I am Groot.
and this green horse.
At least in the second movie, he doesn't talk to her like that.
Look at what you have done. You have always been weak. You stupid traitor.
Boom! Nobody talks to my friend like that. I love the journey these two guys made over the course of this just one movie. It didn't took a trilogy for these two to be friends, you know? Just one movie. Yondu Donta. Oh, and this scene is just awesome! And a precursor to an even better scene in the second movie. And whoosh! And none of these idiots even thinks of shooting him! He's just standing there! Whee! They all fell in unison like dominoes. Oh. Of course, in the second movie we learn why Nebula's body is messed up the way it is.
Nebula, please.
What?
Aircraft pilots, enact immolation initiative.
Oh yeah, that. doing a kamikaze effect. Pretty effective technique, if you ask me. It's getting the attention. Especially hers. There's the bridge from London. I think I was on that bridge. Yeah. Whee! Keep playing that thing on. Can't even shake an orders from my hamster. Everybody's got something to say about Rocket. Finally! Whee! Why do they have yellow blood? Like that celestial thing. And Korra's a pretty good fighter as well. But still, he's not as good as Ronan.
Everybody shoot them before they hit the ground.
Yeah, but still, you're only covering one spot in the city. That scene, man. Slam! Echt me voor. Oef. Kick! Zoom, 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 zoom. As you can see, Peter Quill knows how to fight as well as he can shoot his guns. Kavish! I knew why you had to tell him that, but still. Now watch this. Couldn't you have done it like 5 seconds ago?
You stand accused. The wretched peace treaty will not save you now. 'Tis the tinder on which you burn.
Booz. Now, the universal weapon is already a powerful weapon without the Infinity Stone. Imagine just how powerful it is now. Whee! Seriously, Rocket could literally die at any second now. There goes the blockade. And here's the thing, that whole hopeful moment you had a few minutes ago is gone. And you feel it.
Well, you gotta hurry. The city's been evacuated, but we're getting your asses kicked down here. Let's open the door.
Yeah, she's a little busy right now. Nice leg work. Get out of here. Of course, as we've learned in the second movie, Gamora always won against Nebula.
Help us fight Ronan. You know he's crazy.
Very crazy. Whee! Splat! Whee! Wait, so that room was underneath them the whole time? Shkaboom! Right in the chest. Bingo. I am Groot. Maybe not. I mean, damn it, what does it take to kill this guy? What's he made of anyway? Superman stuff. Yeah, he didn't use the Infinity Stone for that cheap trick. Ew. He went over the arc. Smash! There goes the ship's guiding system. Just like in Thor the Dark World, where they smash through the palace. Except this one is airborne. Yeesh. And the saddest part of the movie is coming up. Very Jesus moment. And the spores again. Not music again. Keeping his friends safe. Making the ultimate sacrifice.
You'll die. Why are you doing this? Why?
We are Groot. Makes absolutely zero sense that he'd be saying that, since he literally can't. But you just don't care. You're too caught up in the moment. And, I mean, in your mind, it kind of does make sense. I was shocked in this movie when I saw it for the first time in the theater. I mean, that was just something that came out of nowhere. Well, at least that survived. Because God forbid Quill would have to live one day without his music, right? Oh, and by the way, they did confirm that Groot's dead. The baby Groot that came after it was his son. I think James Gunn said it in a tweet. That guy looked like Michael Caine. Still got that hole in his chest. Get out of here.
Go
You're Guardians of the Galaxy. He said it in kind of in a mocking term, but that's where they got the idea for the name.
The time has come to rejoice and renounce your paltry gods.
If he destroys the planet while he's standing on it, doesn't that destroy him as well? Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things have been brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things have been brighter. The best way to defeat a villain! Dancing! Again, you're just so caught up in the moment that you really don't care.
I'm distracting you, big turd blossom.
Bam! Kablash! He was literally standing like 50 feet away and now he's inches away from him for some reason. And somehow he actually caught the stone first. Now that thing should have killed him, but if you've seen the second movie, you already know why. It didn't. But it does do a hell of a number on his face. And the circle is closing. Of course, they kind of took the idea from the footage they saw earlier of the collector showed them of the group of people who managed to hold the power of the Infinity Stone at bay by joining hands. Now we're talking. And you're not? We're the Guardians of the Galaxy. They put that line in the second trailer, I believe, and I was pissed off at that. That was one of the things that should have remained a secret. But hey, what are you gonna do? It's so... Sneer! Yeesh. Look at your face, man.
Ain't this sweet? But you got some business to attend to before all the milky starts.
Yondu kind of looks weird without the fin all of a sudden.
You gotta reconsider this, Yondu. I don't know who you're selling this to, but the only way the universe can survive is if you give it to the Nova Corps.
I may be a...
Yeah, just... wait.
I sure as hell ain't one.
Got an arrow like Cupid.
No, son.
Although I'm technically not sure that Cupid is an angel, but never mind. Fine, take it. Yeah, he's not even opening it to make sure it's really the thing inside.
Do not open that orb. You know that, right?
You know,
Seen what it does to people.
a little reverse psychology there. And you had to wait until the end of the movie to know that one particular detail. Wouldn't it have been funny if he actually got it wrong and he actually did give him the right orb? As we will see in the second movie. Yeah, well, until now. I mean, this movie made you emotional and feel for the death of a tree. That's how good this movie is. You see a raccoon crying and you just can't help but cry along with him. That's so cute. Kind of like my dog whenever I pet her.
Why would you even know this? When we arrested you, we noticed an anomaly in your nervous system. So
And you waited until now to tell him that?
I'm not Terran.
You're half Terran. Your mother was a bird. Your father, well,
Ah,
something very ancient we've never seen here before.
that girl over there is beautiful. Of course, they didn't really knew who his father was when they were filming this, so they just
On behalf of the Nova,
left it, you know,
we'd like to express
as a cliffhanger.
for your help in saving Xandar.
James Gunn reportedly came up with the idea for his father about either a day before or a day after he finished working on this movie. I can't remember which one was.
One child shall rest well, knowing that you have avenged them.
Like an Avenger! Just like in the comics, he didn't have a vengeance for Thanos, not Ronan. And that, kids, is why the Milano is much smaller in the second movie, according to Lego at least.
they're alive because of you. Criminal records
It's starting to look like Groot.
However, I have to warn you against breaking any laws in the future.
Question. What if I see
Just do
something
it.
that I want to take and it belongs to someone else?
And you will be arrested.
But what if I wanted more than the person who has it?
Still illegal.
Oh, no, I wanted more, sir. You understand? What do you like? Well, I can't have a discussion with
Come here. By the way, I forgot to mention, this guy was promoted to Denarian now.
That's actually murder. One of the worst crimes of all.
John C. Reilly was very underrated in Kong Skull Island, in my opinion. That movie was a lot better than people gave it credit for. Well, there was a line in the trailer where John C. Reilly just stood there and said, "This was probably not a good idea." I don't understand why they cut it out, but, you know, I guess it just didn't fit well. Now, how exactly did they get a tape recorder on a spaceship when they rebuilt this thing? I will never understand. The final chapter in his character arc in this movie, opening the box he got in the beginning.
You are the light of my life, my precious,
As any mother would say to her son.
my little sparkle.
And that's where he got the name from. I've only just now noticed it, but it's very similar to the end of the second movie. When he's listening to the music on the thing. I love this song. No matter where you are, no matter how far, baby. And look, she likes the music all of a sudden, and she's dancing. There ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you. He's getting some suspicions, and those suspicions have been confirmed. So basically he just trolled him. And, nice house. Again, you didn't need to see this scene, but it still does good on the heart to see something like that. Ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you, babe. They actually had two completely different Baby Groots for this movie. This Twig version and the other version, which we'll see in just a minute. But both! The Jackson 5, ladies and gentlemen! Three sons? The Guardians of the Galaxy will return! A very, very, very young Michael Jackson, by the way. There he is. Nothing you harm. Of course, we know Drax doesn't love dancing, which is what makes this scene so memorable. Don't you laugh? This actually sparked a very quick trend called grooting, which is basically dancing behind people's backs, and as soon as they turn their heads, they just freeze. On tonight, so, what can I say? There's a reason why this is regarded as one of the best MCU movies so far. And I'm pretty sure I went over most of those reasons in this commentary. Of course, there is oh look, Stan Lee's playing a Xandarian ladies' man. So, as I was saying, there is a post-credit scene coming up. Which of course is the Collector and Cosmo and Howard the Duck. You can stay and wait for it if you like. Of course, you probably already know what the scene is, so I don't know. I'm gonna stay because I love that scene. I'm still holding out hope that we see Howard the Duck play a much bigger role eventually, and Cosmo as well. Because it's funny, I had this conversation a week ago with this girl who loves the Marvel movies, but she doesn't know jack shit about the comics. Somehow the conversation drifted to Cosmo, the space dog, and she was like, "Oh, that's Laika, the first dog in space. I'm like, no! Read a comic book, lady! Never mind. Laika. How would Laika still be alive? And it's a boy dog! Damn it! Just wait for the, if you watch this post-credit scene, Howard clearly states, he says, why do you let him lick you like that for? How is that Laika? I don't even want to know what she thought of, Howard the Duck. The first duck in space! Give me a break. Now here's a very interesting question. What would Howard the Duck be doing as a prisoner of the Collector? Is this before or after he was, transported to Earth? Interesting. Is, the Howard the Duck movie canon with the MCU? I don't know. By that logic, how old would Howard be by now? And do ducks even age? Do space ducks even age the same way as regular ducks? Or is he somehow related to the chickens from Chicken Invaders? My brain's melting inside. I'm sorry. There's that score again. The score we all know and love. And I'm just playing with my Milano. Big deal. Have you ever seen a grown man play with Legos before? Man. A guy in his 20s. Let's put it that way. I am Groot! I am Groot. Clearly I've gone insane. So, what else you guys want to talk about, huh? How's your day been? How much time left? A little over a minute. You know, the little Howard the Duck conversation clearly helped some time pass. Wait, there's a choir? A lot of songs in this movie. No raccoons or tree creatures were harmed during the making of this film. Number 49,201. Slowly get up to the 50,000. And here we go. There he is. Cosmo! Cosmo. I love Cosmo.
What do you let it lick you like that for?
Gross. Howard the Duck, created by Steve Gerber and Val Mayer. Couldn't read it fast enough. Sorry. But it was Howard the Duck! Who would have thought? I was completely blown out of my mind when I saw Howard the freaking Duck in a movie. In a Marvel movie, no less. Well, where else would he be? But, I mean, in the MCU? Right. So, that's my, Guardians of the Galaxy, commentary, thing. Thank you guys for watching, if you're still, watching me, and, guys later.